Hello, you lovely people. Welcome to the stream. It's Rad. Hopefully there is a sound. I haven't tested it. I have a huge problems with my sound. I don't know why. I have to investigate. So a couple of things I want to clear aside before we start the stream. Not exactly clear aside, but say something about them. So the first thing it is that Pisces Moonbeam still has her issues, as you may know. She's suffering from kidney crisis, which are caused by a kidney stones. So hopefully, Pisces Moonbeam, you recover rather quickly, and that's one thing. The second thing it is that I do want to apologize to you guys for this week absence of the Your Lovely Week video. I recorded it. It had a, how do you call it, the acoustics, when kind of like whenever you do say it repeats itself. Okay, that is caused by my editing software. I don't know why. You just start doing that out of nowhere. I re-recorded it, same thing happened, so I have to reinvestigate that, and that's one of the reasons about the sound. So hopefully for the next week I will fix that, and this series are going to continue. And the last thing is that because the reason of this live stream, it is Venus that it is entering into Taurus, and aside from that, Venus is in her house, so to speak, because it rules over Taurus, so it's in its perfect place. Aside from that, it also conjuncts Juno, is going to conjunct Juno fairly soon after that, and also is going to conjunct the North Node. And what Pisces Moonbeam wrote to me about that. Hello, Jen. Welcome to the stream. Kind of like it rang a bell, because when I drew the cards, which are the Sun, you can see them on the thumbnail as well. So the Sun, the Three of Pentacles. Okay, so that's the second one. The first one is the Sun. The second one is the Three of Pentacles. And then the third one is the Death card. All right, so when I drew the cards for the collective reading, those three, it kind of like I do got the general vibe, but I didn't really knew what they are talking about in a sense of something more specific. Good evening, Lady Panther. I don't recall seeing you before. Welcome to the stream. So it rang a bell because as Venus enters into Taurus, long story short, because in its cozy place, things about relationships and money are going to start easing themselves up, meaning that things are going to become more plausible. About our love life and about how we do make money, whether through career, whether through, you know, exterior things, whatever pays the bill, right? But also, as it does conjunct Juno, a couple of things are going to take place. Now, one of the things is that this will provoke kind of like a quite important and as well serious, I would like to call profound, conversations with the person that we are involved with already about how things are going to move forward. And this is also going to be extrapolated as Venus hits the North Node, because the North Node is about what we are destined to be, whom we are destined to be with, how we are destined to make our money, and so on and so forth. And primarily is going to reflect our love life because of the conjunction with Juno itself. And conjunctions are also a new beginnings, which means that, can I put it into words, that for everyone that it is single, right, that very likely means a new incentive, new opportunity, so to speak, to make a long-lasting relationship. And I think that is going to be a long-lasting one because it happens under that particular configuration. And as it is under it, you know, Venus in Taurus, conjuncting Juno, there is no other way looking at it, because pretty much everything is going to be confined, if we are to believe that configuration, to be confined in our comfort zone, which is exactly where this elemental dignity comes about, which was the head scratcher, by the way. So the sun card with the death one. And if I didn't had the astrology in front of me provided by Pisces Moonbeam, that would have mean that this elemental dignity would have mean that we are actually now, I don't want to say on the right path, but we pretty much have our setup. Okay, we pretty much have our setup to be happy, to be whether happy within how we do make money, because the sun stands for a monetary gains, monetary success, also expanding energies of growth, but also we do have our setup how to be happy with other people through making ourselves happy. And when Pisces Moonbeam presented me with the astrology, it pretty much nailed it, because to me now, combined, that means that we are going to stumble upon the right thing for us, right? So kind of like the right way for us, that is, to make money, what works for us, so to speak. We will find, or kind of like end up with the right, the best way working for us, making money, or the person that is going to suit us best of going forward in relationship. And I'm now curious how long this transit is, because I haven't checked that. So it starts at 16th of March, all right? It hits Taurus at 6:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all right? So that is when the things should start easing up in regards to career, also in regards to love life. And then it should be about 3 to 4 weeks. And 11th of April, okay, 11th of April, Venus is going to move into Gemini. So we do have about, how much is that? So we do have about 25 days, all right? We do have about 25 days to build up the momentum, so to speak, love-wise, and as well money-making wise. Doesn't have to be career, but money-making wise, because you may not make that much. In fact, I do know people that are making more money from their hobbies than from their career, and honestly, I don't know why they're going forward with their career. I guess they do want to have some kind of a portfolio or something, but they do. And the other thing here that we do have within the cards, oh, by the way, what I do forgot to mention about astrology, it is that where this this is going to manifest for you, well, you have to check what house Taurus rules for you, all right? So for example, if it does rule the 4th house, then this energy is going to manifest in your private circle, in your house, in your home, you know. If, for example, it does manifest into the 7th house, then it's guaranteed that it's going to hit you in relationship wise, all right? And it's just throughout these 25 days, you're going to have a lot of incentives to start some kind of commitment, some kind of a deepen interactions with one person or another. And the other elemental dignity that we do have from the cards, it's those two, right? And these are active neutrals first and foremost, and they can go so many ways. One of the things it is that they do point that we can do without certain people in our lives as guides, right? Not as a companions, but as a guide. Look at it that way. You have someone that it is supporting you, holding your hand up until this point. Well, you don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. We can now stand on our feet and walk the mile on our own, and obviously at the end gather up the results, the fruits of our labors for ourselves, instead of splitting them with whomever it is supporting us through that. And also they do stand as well for that we can find quite a lot of happiness in many different gazes, in many different forms. Okay, so if one thing doesn't work out for you, another is going to replace it pretty much immediately. But one thing, it is very, very important, and my ex used to say, you know, if you do have to push it, at the end of the day probably is gonna be a shade. And that is something very fundamental for this for these elemental dignities. It's next 25 days, it's going to be imperative for all of us, me, you, your friends, your family, not to push it. I don't know how to put it into words, but go forward with what kind of like unfolds pretty naturally without breaking too much of a sweat about it. Of course, you know, you have to put your toils, you have to put your performance, and kind of help it move forward. But under a pushing it, what I mean is that you do try out and it kind of like bounces you back, right? And you do try again from a different angle and still doesn't want to work out. And it's kind of like you do get the mentality that I'm gonna do it whatever the cost, and it's just so you know, first, it's not gonna happen. Second, under the energy of these cards, second, it's just you will pay more than you know at the end of the day. All right, so that was the collective. And few notes about the show, because I do see quite a few new people. So within this live stream, there are going to be 12 readings, one for each star sign. I'm going to start with Aries and I'm going to end up with Pisces, obviously. The reading is going to be the Elemental Dignities technique, which means the 3 cards draw, they do fuse, so to speak, and form a one cumulative message. So this is not a read card by card, but that is how you do read combinations, right? If you do wish to have a personal reading with me, you can go to my website, which link you will find in the description down below. There into the website at the very front page, you can see a full list of my services, also their pricing. So you can go for whichever one suits your needs and your budget best. And if you do enjoy the show, please share, like, and subscribe. And if you do decide to support the show through Super Chat, you are going to have a reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. And should your Super Chat be $20 US or above, the reading is going to be that very same format of Elemental Dignities. And should the Super Chat carries no inquiry, the reading will be about how this transit is going to affect you personally, what Venus in Taurus is going to mean for you personally. All right, so with that said, starting up first, we do have Aries. By the way, you can track which star sign I'm reading for from the glyph being displayed here. Yeah, Pisces Moonbeam, with that condition, it's like you do have some usually how it unfolds for me, half of the day, it's like I don't have anything, you know, I feel as strong as a bull, and then it immediately starts like from nowhere. In the second half of the first half of the day, it's like you are in excruciating pain. All right, so for Aries, first card, that will be the Ace of Swords. Second one, that will be the Seven of Cups. And the third card for Aries, we do have the Queen of Cups. Okay, So these three here. And for you, Aries, this transit immediately should start incentivizing you for approaching, how can I put it into words, approaching subjects, not just only people, but also subjects. Is going to play out in a different way, should that be a person or a subject. But for a subjects, approaching subjects that you kind of have doubts for, that these subjects are a bit ambiguous, they are a bit, how can I put it into words, obscure from your side, and that you don't know exactly what is going on in there. Okay, that could be a matter of money making, most likely, or a matter of what people thinks of you one way or another, and you are going to unravel those mysteries to a point where by the end of this transit you will pretty much gonna know how things stand. You know, you're gonna have that clear diagnosis over how the situation is in your family, in your relationship, in your love life, in your social circle as well. And in one way or another, this next 25 days are going to provoke a lot of deep conversations, or I would say honest conversations, not exactly deep, but honest conversations with people that, you know, they have something to tell you, and you do have something to unravel for them as well. And what will be, how can I put it into words? What will be the difference here with those conversations is that you are not going to spare each other, all right? It's kind of like with pleasantries, so to speak, and courtesies as well. Here with those conversations, the truth pretty much is going to be delivered right in the face, and you will do a really good job handling it and making the most out of it. But I cannot guarantee for the other side as well, but at the very least you will pretty much gonna know how exactly you do stand. And also the next 25 days are going to be days where you are going to cut through the bullshit. So pretty much promises, ideas, for example, or even statements, you will recognize which are, can I put it into words, which are possible, so to speak, and which are just a dust in your face, a dust in your eyes, and are meant to beguile you into things that are never going to materialize. Anna, thank you so much for the 20 US dollar support. Thank you, Anna. And someone else through PayPal, I'm gonna check it this yeah. And Mattia, thank you, Mattia, for the 20 US dollars PayPal support. Thank you. You both make sure that you do stick by the end of the stream, where you are going to have your personalized readings for how Venus in Taurus is going to affect you personally. All right, so that was Aries. Now next we have Taurus. First one for Taurus, that will be the Six of Swords, followed by the Queen of Cups, and the third one, that will be the Seven of Pentacles for Taurus. Those three. All right, guys. For you, that transit is going to be very. What is the word? I don't know if I'm going to use the right one, so I will try to explain it in another way. So how it stands here, it's that as the Venus moves in your star sign, you will pretty much gonna see that you are making loops, okay, in your money world or in your love life. For every single one of you is gonna be a bit different, okay. But what is going to be common there is that you all are going to recognize that something different needs to be done. And you do have it on the tip of your fingers. Now, that different thing could be some wish you had for a very, very long time, right? It could be some kind of idea, a dream, whatever the case. But as Venus moves into Taurus and with those two conjunctions, first of all, most likely you will realize that it's something you definitely have to do. I mean, the pull is going to be insatiable, for a lack of a better word. And also, there is going to be one other recognition here. Obviously, one is that it's not going to work out on its own accord. But the second one is going to be that if you do make a move, there is literally nothing to be lost. And for that, whatever kept you of stepping outside of your comfort zone, so to speak, talking with the person you like, trying out this new business deal, right, or this new business way, so to speak, traveling somewhere where you're gonna experience pleasure, because this transit, which I missed to say, it's also about pleasuring yourself. You are going to grow the courage to make that step toward the unknown, and that is what it is within those particular cards. And also, but in a different way here, okay, in a different way from the collective reading with these two, that is also a severing, a held, not helping, but holding hand. It's kind of like someone is holding, or a organization is holding your hand, and you are severing that because you don't need any longer to be under their wing. In fact, being under their wing, it's a big portion of why you are stuck in a certain loop right now, which may suit you, but your eyes are going to open that it's kind of like there is no progress, and you are destined for bigger things, for more things, so to speak. The investments that you are going to make, they will mean nothing to you. Now, I can't guarantee that there are going to be a return on them, but they are going to mean nothing to you. So you will see a glad way of investing whatever you don't see any value in it. All right, so that was for Taurus. Next one, we do have Gemini. First one for Gemini, that will be the Fool, followed by the Two of Cups. Ooh, and the third one, that will be the Page of Wands. So these three. Now, if something bolsters the Fool's card of a new beginnings, these are three or four cards. Now, the strongest one that bolsters the Fool's new beginning, that is Judgment. The second one, or second to first, that is the Wheel of Fortune. The third to second, it is the Page of Wands. Okay. The fourth one with the weakest amplification, so to speak, it is the Page of Wands. Not the Page of Wands, but the Ace of Wands. I'm sorry. But here, what we definitely have is something new. Now, if we do follow the astrology, whether these are new money coming in, or actually a new way of making money coming in, or a new love coming in, one of the two. Okay, and what is characteristics of these two here is that it will be quite unexpected in a way of manifesting. All right, so that's not going to be your usual routine of dating. It's not going to be your usual routine of making money. It will require some kind of a different approach, so to speak, an approach that probably you did not exerted it up until this point. And for that reason, it will be imperative, you Gemini, to be open for anything new, especially if it does sounds ridiculous. Okay, if it does sound, so to speak, immature. I do encourage you here to consider it or contemplate on it. Okay, so contemplate on that, and as you do so, the way forward will start building up bit by bit. We're gonna start, how can I put it into words, a form, instead of kind of like brushing it off right away just because it doesn't fit your taste at that given time. The other thing about you that we do have with that Two of Cups there, that is like that is like a not making a stand, but it's like not caring if you are liked or not. This two of Cups influencing the Fool, it's like having people who like your attitude and those who doesn't. Okay, but you don't care if there are those who doesn't, because you're completely okay with those who does, and that way you do forge some kind of a circle, so to speak, friendships, romantic interactions, or whatever, that do have a quite of a potential into the future, because the future could be as big as you all make it, because you don't have any bias. The bias, that's the word. So you this is where, with these two cards, this is where you are to move forward toward people that don't have any bias, or you are to attract such a people. Those with biases are going to start melting away. They're going to start vaporizing from your environment. So if there are those who are aggravating you just because, you know, they're trying to prove you wrong, their influence on your life bit by bit are going to start dropping off from the platter, from the table. All right, so that was Gemini. Now moving on, next we do have Cancer. The first one for Cancer, that will be the Emperor, followed by the Knight of Swords. And the third one for Cancer, we do have the Five of Cups. So these three. And that involves a lot of work for you, Cancer, that is coming up into these times. Venus in Taurus, which are the next 25 days. With these three cards, you are going to undergo of a quest, of a campaign, so to speak, fixing up the situations that you do consider a leak, that you do consider a how can I put it into words? Yeah, it's a leak. I don't have any other word to say it. So leaking energy, leaking resources, leaking time, right? Leaking money even. It is where your focus is going to be, stabilizing the crisis that it's ensuing, or that you may be finding that it is ensuing here. And not just only that, but because we do have that Knight of Swords being next to the Emperor, in fact, you will have some very good decisions made, which are going to expand the campaign. They are going to expand the situation beyond your expectations, meaning that at the end it will turn out far better, or better, so to speak, than your aim, than your target at the end of the day. And the only thing in an unpleasant way that I can see here is that whenever you don't meet expected results or expected behavior, or kind of like expectancies, so to speak, that is gonna make you feel not bad, but it's kind of like you're gonna start blaming yourself that you haven't put enough effort, that you didn't give your best, and so on and so forth, which is bullshit, long story short, according to the cards, at least, because in walking into the next 25 days, right, you will do your maximum best, or your maximum best, presenting yourself very reliable, presenting yourself very structured, presenting yourself as someone who can handle literally everything thrown at them. So that's why I would not be surprised if many of you have a very good offers for business, especially, or straight away contemplate, if you do have especially someone that you do date, contemplate for jumping into the next level into the relationship, because it's very, very likely that the other side is going to see you as a person who can totally do that, handle it, and it's like I said, very responsible and in generally person to rely on. And the last thing that those cards are divulging here in a general sense is that you will also, in midst of that, you will also going to find quite of a time, so to speak, to pay attention to yourself. I don't know how to put it into English in English, but it's when you do attend to your personal needs as well. So that means that you are going to work some kind of a magic here, because you are going to have quite a lot of things to undertake, all of them important, all of them serious, and simultaneously with that, you're still going to have a few hours to spare a day to play some kind of a video game, to watch some kind of a show, or to have a nice couple of glasses of a wine. So that was for Cancer here. Yasmin, thank you so much for the $20 super chat support. Thank you, Yasmin. At the end of the stream, you're going to have your personalized reading for how this transit is going to affect you personally. But if you can't stay up until the end, you can always watch it on a recording. All right, so a couple of minutes to catch up my breath, guys, and I'm gonna do the next 4 star signs afterwards. Just to remind you that if you do wish to have a personal reading with me, you can purchase one from my website, which link you're going to find in the description down below. And if you do decide to support the stream and the channel through super chat, you're going to have a reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. You're welcome, living dead girl A. By the way, Mattia, my Venus is in Scorpio as well, I believe. All right, first one for Leo. All right, first one for Leo. That will be the Knights of Wands, followed by the Page of Wands. And the last one that we do have, it is the Knight of Swords. Now, we do definitely have a person to show up for you guys, which is going to be the primary focus on this transit for you. So we do have that individual here, Knight of Wands. Now, what is important to know, I will try to interpret that if that person shows up for you in terms of romantic incentive, or it does shows up as a business offer, kind of like someone that it is offering you business. Now, in terms of romantic incentive, what you need to know is that this is a person who seeks adventure. Okay, that is a person who is attracted first and foremost through your physical appearance. For them, at least at the start, there will be no shred of emotions whatsoever. It is just they're gonna want to have a good time at the start, but they will keep their mind open for later as well. So that is not kind of like a blocked, how can I put it into words, a blocked enterprise where it is just sex and nothing else than that, right? So they do want to start it out and see where it goes, where it leads off, right? With having no bias, how the whole thing is about to end. Now, why they are going to do that? Well, it is because what they want. It is because how they live at this particular moment. And what will be the gravest mistake, at least at the start from you, it is to think that you do have any leverage over them, right? So basically what those cards are showing, it is just as easy as they are attracted to you, just as easy they can be attracted to other people as well, which means that if you do try to play, how can I put it into words, the game of catch and seek, so to speak, if you do try to provoke them in any way, for example, to provoke their jealousy or to provoke their emotions, you're as good as dead to them. They will just move on to the next one, right? So that is something you need to keep up in mind here. Should that be about business incentive? A person who wants to make a business with you or offers you some kind of a deal. That is some kind of a new deal for them as well. That they don't have much of an experience into what they're offering to you. If that's a big corporation, for example, that would mean that this is a place just open. They didn't have anyone there. They didn't have such a position up until this point. Okay, and pretty much the whole thing is for them. It's just to see, is it gonna work out or not. And for now, it's pretty much open budget, so to speak, at least for them. But you have to be reasonable if you do decide to take on this this offer, right? You do have to be reasonable with how much you do want, because they are, yeah, it's true that they are really eager to try it off, okay? But you need to know that there is a limit. It's a sweet spot for them. So as soon as they start smelling some kind of a unwanted influence or unwanted, unlikable, so to speak, approach, they are gonna be out of it. Okay, so that is very important here. But if you do keep up in the line of being efficient and being interesting to them, they are gonna be willing to go for as much as it goes. So especially in terms of a romantic incentive here, just indulge them, and they will go for as much as it leads to. So one day you can see each other married, you can see each other having family, right? But as soon as you do start making them, once again, I want to stress this one out, you do start making them feel bad, for example, throw a tantrum just to see how they will react, you're pretty much dead for them. Okay, so that was Leo. Now moving on, next we do have Virgo. You're welcome, guys. The strength, it is the first one, followed by the fool, and the third one that will be the chariot for Virgo. So right off the back, we're gonna leave the good part here, the fool and the strength for later. First, what we're going to talk about, it is that elemental dignity. Now, the strength and the chariot, although they're active enemies, they carry on a positive, or rather like pleasant energy, and simultaneously it is entangled with a unpleasant energy. Now, what is the unpleasant energy? Well, what those cards here are showing, it is that the happening, the manifestation, the appearance in the next 25 days, it's not going to correlate or correspond with your wishes. So things are going to work out, things are going to happen, but these things may not be what you wish, or the way it works out may not be the way you wish is going to work out. That's one thing. However, the pleasant part here, it is that things are going to work very easy for you. There will be no excessive, so to speak, efforts that you have to throw in, whether your love life or whether your business. It's just, should you go with the flow? Pretty much money are going to flow, and people are going to be attracted to you. Now, talking about attraction, it is where the other elemental dignity really falls into place here, the fool and the strength. So these two cards are like a magnet, right? Like a magnet. It's just your behavior, the way you interact with people, the way you, can I put it into words? The way you present yourself in general. It's going to be, again, magnetizing. And that will attract, can I put it into words, that will attract individuals that up until this point you never knew or you never thought that you will attract up until this point. So be prepared to have a lot of introductions into the next 25 days, whether through social media, whether through common people that you commonly know, right, or whether through just a random bumps up on the into the supermarket, on the street, whatever. But also the Fool and the Strength card, they do speak about a very big target that you are gonna come up in mind with. That's it will be the beginning. You will place the beginning into the next 25 days, chasing it. This target will be very ambitious. You will be very enthusiastic about it. It will be a long-term goal, and it is completely accomplishable and achievable, at least for how those cards are standing, and it will be an incentive or a reason for a ginormous improvement in your life. And that's why you're going to move forward very enthusiastically. Now, you may not face a lot of approval. In fact, you are not going to face a lot of approval about this target, about this goal, Virgo. But you also wouldn't care, because this is the strongest thing about the Strength card. It is that the Strength now, people being under the energy of the Strength, they know what is good for them. They know what they want. And I don't care if, anyone agrees with that or not. They now, you know what you want, and you know what is good for you so much that you don't feel that you have the need to ask for approval, this person or that person, right? It's because their approval will mean nothing to you, because you're doing it one way or another. And there are going to be many ways of doing it, by the way. This is in a conjunction with the Fool card. All right, so next we do have Libra. Queen of Pentacles for Libra, followed by the Five of Wands, and the last one, that will be the Four of Swords. Right away, Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Swords tells me right away that you are going to roll up your sleeves and undergo a resolution or a solving thing of old issues that are always on the back of your head, and although they may not have an influence on your life right now, it's just they're always in your mind. Now, for example, you have an ex that you do want to say something to them, you never did. All right, the sex is no longer in your life, they don't have any influence in it, but it is just what you want to tell them. It's always on the back of your head, and it's just, it doesn't give you a single moment of rest. So it's going to be 25 days where you're going to do it. And what this is going to does, that was just an example, right? It could be a lot of things, but what this is going to does, you're addressing these so-called problems that have no influence right now on your life, but they are just on the back of your head. What this is going to does is going to open up the floodgates of a unfound potential. Okay, so you can expect a line of such things to happen, reconciliations, okay, reoffering. For example, you have been offered a deal, you missed it, or you didn't qualify back then. Now you will qualify, and that deal may be given to you one more time. It's just, think of it as a second chance, right? Think of it as an addition to what you already are building up as a potential, and that will accelerate your day-to-day routine. So you can expect to be quite more busier into the next few days, into the next 25 days, that is. You can expect to be a way more dynamic. And another thing it is that while there could be some kind of like an unexpected circumstances here, there could be some kind of a surprising, so to speak, events that you didn't saw coming, and when they happen, you may kind of like feel like you're blindsided here and there. You will do a really good job fitting them in, and you're not gonna allow, under any circumstances, Libra, things to get out of hand, whether in your love life or whether into your career, and or whether into as well making money. And whichever way these cards manifest for you, whether in your love life or whether into how you do make money, once again, you have to know where Taurus is in your star sign, what house it rules there, to know where this exactly is going to manifest. But wherever it manifests, at the end, you're going to have that house pretty much under control, very well developed, very well established. So for example, if it rules your seventh house, you will expect your relationship life, that is, to be very well defined, very well established, to be a domain at the end of the day, at the end of these 25 days. One thing I want to warn you here with these three cards, okay, it is that you may find it's not like someone is to betray your trust, but you are to find that you are trusting someone with way too much, right? Trusting someone to do a job they're incapable to do, or trusting someone to figure out a thing that they're unable to figure out. All right, so that said, it will benefit you a lot if you do rejuggle, reshuffle people that you do count as a loyal and faithful companions. All right, next we do have Scorpio. First one for Scorpio, that will be the Two of Swords, followed by the Seven of Pentacles. And the third one, that will be the Hierophant. These three cards for Scorpio. Me. So unlike the other star signs, it pretty much, for us, everything had been decided already. We just don't know it. It kind of like pains me to say it for what those cards are showing here. But what it says, what they say is that within the next 25 days, any move or any decision we are to make under our own initiative is going to be the wrong one. Because the right one, the right move, the right choice, it will pretty much gonna be served to us on a platter. And there is a few problems with that. Couple actually. Now the first one, it is that we may identify that it is just really kind of like that's it. Okay, it's like it's underwhelming. That's one of the issues. The second one is that it will be something we either don't believe in or something we do not trust. Like we don't trust the guy, we don't trust the woman that kind of like appears to be the right person for the job or the right person for a relationship. Or it is just kind of like something we don't want to put the hassle with. That is at the start. Okay. Now the good thing about all that, we don't have we aren't gonna be pressured to move forward, so we can take our time examining the option available and finding the best way to handle it, finding the best way to make that move or to make that choice one way or another. But once we do cross that threshold, making the move or kind of like taking the choice, our life, for what those cards are showing here, will become a lot more peaceful than now. And also, it will open up a new line of, how can I put it into words? A new line of possibilities. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but it's kind of like we are going to consider different more options available afterwards, so our minds are going to be more open afterwards. But don't be surprised if within the next 25 days you Scorpio decide that you don't want to work that thing anymore. You want to how can I put it into words, requalify, so to speak, or you don't want to meet those people anymore. You do want to find a different kind of people. That is what I mean, that the choice is going to be served to us while taking it on our own initiative, going against what we find, how can I put it into words, find natural in a sense of that it is happening on its own. It's not going to work for us. In the end, we're going to see that whether it is the best we are to see all the efforts were for nothing, the worst we are to see it is that we have wasted our time. So that was for Scorpio. Now, couple of minutes, guys, and I'm gonna do the last 4 star signs, which are going to be Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And if any of you wants a free personal reading with me, not a free one, but personal reading with me, you can go to my website, which link you're going to find in the description down below. And there at the very front page, you're going to see full lists of my services and also their pricing. And also, if you do decide to support the stream and the channel through Super Chat, we're going to have a reading at the end of the stream. That's pretty much guaranteed. So let me give a good shuffle now. All right, next, Sagittarius. Ace of Pentacles, it is the first one for Saji. Followed by the Nine of Pentacles. They're gonna have a blast through it though. And then it is the World. Not much to be said here, guys. It's just you are gonna have a huge blast through it, okay? With those three cards. Bottom line, it is that what they do show, it is that you are off for a huge jump into your growth, into your development through a quite of a unique and rare opportunity or an option available. Like, I don't know how to put it into words. If there is something you wish to happen perfectly, now that's gonna be it. Okay. For example, you do wish to have a perfect circumstances for a proposal. There you go. You do wish to have a perfect job offer. There you go. You know, you wish to have a perfect conditions over something. That's about it. And what the incentive here truly is that through these conditions, through that option available, through that rare opportunity and unique one for you, you can establish one of the two, or why not both as well. A very lucrative, money gaining, successful business maneuvers, and as well a quite harmonious relationships that can be romantic but not limited to as well. It could be as well friendship or cumulatively both of those things. It's just your relationships in all kind of forms are going to be harmonized or harmonized or whatever the case within the next 25 days. And once you do establish that, it's pretty much done. What I mean is that you're going to have it. Well, that's a big statement, but you will have to toil a lot in order to break it. So I can safely say is that if you don't work against it, you can have it for the rest of your life. Now, that said, if you do end up dating someone next 25 days, you need to know that that is one of the people, right? Because you can have more than one who is compatible with you to a big extent, and that is one of those people. All right, you end up with a job offer, you need to know that that is one of the jobs that you are going to find yourself very successful at and very, very growthful as well. So a huge transit for you, Sagittarius, for what my cards are showing here. And that will be a mark of how can I put it into words, of a very successful transition. It's not even a transition, that is like where you do close a book. You know, if you had a really hard time up until now, you close up the horror book now because it's now pretty much over, and you do open up a nice adventurous one where you get to be the hero. Hello, Jasmine. Thank you so much for the $20 support. Thank you, Jasmine. At the end of the stream, you're going to have your personalized read for the transit, which is Venus in Taurus. Thank you again. So it's a huge one for you. And as although I am Scorpio, my Sagittarius is stronger than Scorpio. I think so. I hope so. Okay, I hope so. Hopefully, the Sagittarius reading is going to manifest for me stronger than the Scorpio reading, because truth be told, I didn't like the Scorpio one. It is wonderful. Yeah. All right, next, Capricorn. First one for Capricorn, the Tower. Afterwards is going to be the Two of Swords. And then we do have the Five of Cups. Now you gotta give me a minute here. It's the Five of Cups, it's the third one. Gotta give me a minute here. I don't want to mess this message around. Now, first off, uh, there is gonna be a lot of doubt that you have to handle in the next 25 days for what those cards are showing. Whether about choices you recently made or whether about moves that you are about to make or you are considering making. And bottom line is that at the end of the day, under the energy of those two, how they do form, okay, the Tower card and the Two of Swords, this thing it's pretty much unavoidable that you are charging toward, no matter how you go about it. So ultimately, well, okay, I'm gonna say it that way, guys. What will happen in the next 25 days is that you are going to see and understand that some of your recent decisions or things that you deem the right thing to do are going to lead you to a bad place. Bad place in a sense, place where kind of like unpleasant things are gonna happen. Well, that could be a breakup, it could be a job loss or straight away walking away from a job or whatever. Okay, so it is related to a loss. And that loss, there are a couple of ways handling it. Now, one is the regretful way. You may regret that it had to come to that and relive it every single day. Or you can realize that that was something you just had to do and you stick with your choice and just move forward. And doing so into the future, not within the next 25 days, but into the future, you will see that that loss was necessary. And in fact, it was not a loss at all. Actually, it was a purge, for a lack of a better word. Or if you do prefer, you can call it a sacrifice, because it was a dead weight, so to speak. It was something that was holding you back, although you had it was like a drug. Drugs are not healthy for you. They pretty much ruin your life, but once get hooked into, very difficult to drop off, right? Well, that's the same thing that you do have here: an addiction, a dependency, an attachment that's one way or another you will recognize that you have to cut clean, and that's what you are going to do. And handling it, again, it will be the real thing that you will have to stand against, right? Or rather, like, overcome here. Again, one of the two ways. One way is the regretful way, which I do not recommend, because it will make just your transition much more painful. The other way is just recognizing that was the only logical and as well benign thing that you could do to yourself, and just move on, and or rather like keep up going, and you will overcome it in no time. All right, Aquarius comes next. Nine of Wands for Aquarius, followed by the Ace of Wands. And the third one for you guys, for us, because I am rising Aquarius, in fact, that will be the Page of Swords. So these cards affect our social circle. It was your moon. Well, then you're going to have a lot of feelings shift. Okay, Jen? Your feelings are going to shift in an unpleasant way, but ultimately they are going to shift into the right portion of of the scales, so to speak. So for Aquarius, these cards are gonna hit us straight into our social circle and people we are associating ourselves with, and it is just it will be a cleanup right away, a cleanup right away, a decimation, so to speak, because what happens it is that it's not like unnecessary, but most of the people that we associate ourselves with, people that we do spend time with, that we do talk with, and so on and so forth, we will deem some of them unnecessary, some of them unneeded anymore. Well, it's again obsolete, so to speak, and that will lead to the decimation. And another thing, another reason why this is going to happen is that we're going to start seeing that we do need people to look up to, people that will urges us to be more, to be better, to open up for more possibilities and for more opportunities. Bottom line here is that through our experience, we will recognize that with those people we are now associating with, most of them that is, there is nothing more to gain, there is nothing more to take, there is nothing more to grow with, and for that we will actually engage with brand new individuals that up until this point, archetypes of individuals that which up until this point we just didn't pay attention to. For us, they didn't exist yet. Now they do, and we are to see that actually the experience is a very, very pleasant, one of the pleasant experiences we do had. Very likely for every Aquarius who is single to end up dating. And what will provoke the dating in the next 25 days is the differences, the interest. What I mean is that that person is going to be somewhat different, but in the same time, someone that relates to you or you relate to them very, very well. And that will be so interesting that you will want to know where that actually leads to. You're going to want to reach the bottom of it. And we are going to reach the bottom of it because I'm in that count as well. And it will be quite of a ride. There was going to be a lot of things to talk about. There are going to be a lot of things to explore. There are going to be a lot of things to help each other with as well. And last but not least, we do have Pisces. First one with Pisces, or for Pisces, that will be the Six of Pentacles. The second one, that will be the King of Wands. And the final one for Pisces, that will be the Tower. So guys, good and pleasant and unpleasant thing to say here. The unpleasant thing is that, can I put it into words? Things for you are not going to be that challenging, in a sense of that it will not going to be a big deal. Okay, it will not going to be like a game-changing events for what those cards are showing that are to happen to you within the next 25 days. And the reason for that is because pretty much you do have your setup already, and as you do have setup very well established, there is going to be much of side things happening to it, whether where you do feel excited, and where you do feel like you do have actually some kind of a management to do. Because now for what those cards are showing here now, the how can I put it into words? The finest things have left to be attended. because for the most part you do have it in rails, you do have it in a line, whether you do have in a line your dates, you do have in a line how you're going to make money. Okay, you do have your setup. That's the point here. And things for what those cards are showing here, things should go as planned for the most part, and that is the pleasant stuff of the aspects for you. It is that everything should go as planned. In fact, not just only that, but also as go as planned. That will give you also some time to handle and sort some aspects that are peripheral to how you do make money and how you do go about your relationships, which are wreaking a bit of a havoc. It's not like they're making your life chaotic, but it's kind of like they're getting on the way, or like they're getting in the way, and now you will have the time and also the resources to clear those ways through. And one last thing I want to mention here is that within the next 25 days, you don't need any help, okay, about anything. You can handle it on your own, and in fact that is how you should go about it at the first place here, because at the end of the day, all the rewards that you are going to accomplish, Pisces, they will be meant for you and for none other. It will be a fantastic period, 25 days, for you to repay back favors, return back loans, and in general kind of like set yourself in a place where you do want to find yourself at, where you do want to be, because that's pretty much the line that you are following, and you're eventually gonna get there. So with that, that concludes the 12 star signs, and now what is going to happen is the super chat. So anyone who supported the stream and the channel through super chat or is about to do so, you guys are going to have your reading now, and the first one is going to be Anna. Let me shuffle now the tarot cards for you, Anna, and see how this transit is going to affect you. Pretty much that is a reading for you in regards to Venus in Taurus for the next 25 days. Taco, thank you so much for the 33 US dollars. Thank you, Taco. Let me put you into the list, and you are gonna have a reading, that's for sure. See how Venus is going to affect you as well. By the way, mate, have you tried the new Xbox game, Wulong? It's an awesome one. I'm having a blast through it. Is in the Xbox Game Pass. Just giving you a suggestion. All right. Well, I hope everything goes right for you tomorrow then. Funny thing, I also do have an appointment tomorrow with a dentist, that is. Not particular problem, just to get myself checked, just to make sure that, you know, if I do have cavities, they are to be fixed, because I really don't want to go to the root canal treatment. It's expensive, it's painful, I just don't want to go there. Synchronicity, yeah. Yeah. All right, Anna, those three cards. And these two here, well, they could tell us a couple of things. The Eight of Swords and Temperance. Now, if there are people who are on you, who are onto you in general, like, you know, they're trying to disprove your statements, or kind of like are trying to convince you in one thing or another, straight away are calling you out for what you say, that will um, no longer gonna be an issue, right? Because those two cards are speaking that they will understand you. Now they don't have to agree with you, but they will understand where you're coming from, and they are going to leave you alone. In fact, not just only that, but you are going to be surprised to see a bit of a compassion and solidarity from their where this thing came from their behalf, right? That's one thing. Now the other from these two cards is that next 25 days you're going to start considering some different ways, better ways, uh, presumably of making money, establishing business, or doing your job as well. And these ways, first of all, they are going to be better, like the incentive is going to be higher, but also they will be easier, right? Because with the previous options available, you had to resort to some, for example, extreme actions, or for example, an extreme investments. Now the actions or the investments no longer gonna be as extreme as they were before, and yet the results expected will happen to be better than the previous options available, so to speak. And with the Seven of Cups being next to the Eight of Swords, that is when how can I put it into words? That is when you get to cut some corners, not major ones, but still is going to be a form of help as well. But the biggest one for you, it is that you are going to you're going to find a way to get to the heart of people, all right? To get to them, to see where you're coming from, to see and to make them understand as well. And the last thing for you, Anna, it is that if there is something in your character, okay, some kind of a bias, some kind of a limit, you will learn how to, like you will succeed into breaking them down, and them being no longer a point of holding you back any longer. All right, next, that will be Mattia. Judgment. I'm very curious to see the other two. Queen of Cups. The Tower. Those three for you, Mattia. First of all, is that there will be a leak of information. Okay, so this is what's gonna take place. Someone that knows something about someone else is going to accidentally spill the beans, and that will be a huge deal, because this information actually is gonna give you an additional thing to work with, not the additional thing to work with, the thing to work with. Okay, that could play out in either your love life or in your business here. For example, I know what your business is, but let's say that you are a trader, right? Trader, you trade with stocks, and someone spills up an information that they're not supposed to about some kind of a business maneuver of a company that you do have stocks, that you do have shares into, okay? And now you do have an insider information that you actually did not work for, but alas, it's something you came up with, and through it you can make a lot of money. That is just for example. So it's going to be very sensitive information that you're not supposed to come up with, but alas, it's going to be spilled up to you, and that is going to give you the way through. All right, that will be like a gift from heaven. So I don't know how to put it into words. For example, if you do want to be with someone, or you do want to separate with someone, but you can't because of one or another restriction, that information could be the leverage you need in order that restriction not to be a problem anymore, and you just do whatever you want to do. The other thing is, how can I put it into words? The other thing is something that you don't have a control over here with the Tower and the Judgment. That is something that just happens unexpectedly, right? And at the start, that is like the variation killer, so to speak. Let's put it that way. You do have many variants to go about one thing or another. Let's say you do have a deal that you want to offer, and you can offer it to several different companies or clients, and you make your offer, and one client bankrupt, the other client kind of like is not interested, the third client, something happens. Okay, so what this is here, it's a radar that we do have. What we do have here is a radar which pretty much kills off the dead ends. The problem is that you're not going to know that, and it will seem like it is killing off a really good opportunities. It's killing up really good, how can I put it into words, a projects, relationships, friendships. But that is where pretty much it kind of like transforms and shifts the way you do business, the way you do love, the way you do friendships, and so on and so forth. And pretty much when this kind of like process is over, everything is gonna make sense for you. And from there on moving forward, it is how you are gonna go about things from now on, because it will be the most efficient way. So you can expect quite a few things to shift and change, okay, within the next 25 days. That will have a nurturing and cleansing effect on your life. All right, next, Yasmin, not to be confused with Jasmine, all right? So Yasmin is next. Jasmine Miller is after Yasmin. All right, first one for you, Yasmin, that will be the king, the Emperor, followed by the Knight of Cups, and the last one, that will be the Eight of Pentacles here. So simultaneously, you are gonna have a disappointing start, and in the same way, that is going to be also a breakthrough. So let me explain you how. Well, within the next few days, right at the start of this this transition, which again starts at the 16th of March, you will, through examination probably, or could be even through testing, you will find out that certain things you consider, certain things that you do want to do, okay, that you do want to work for, that you do want to accomplish, cannot be. Or they can, but it's not it's not exactly what you wish. And that will lead you, but I do believe that it's going to be the first variation, because the second one, it is kind of like, it's a far-fetched with those cards. Most is going to be like they can't happen. Not in a way you wish them to happen, all right? And so that is going to lead you to changing the foundation. So at the end, it could be a foundation which, you know, now you can build on top of, actually get what you really want. So you can consider now this transit here where you are fixing, okay, I don't know how to put it into words, like fixing the unsuitable start you are about to have, or you do have, like starting on the wrong foot, okay, and backtracking in order to get on the right foot with your business, or with your career, or with your friendships, and so on and so forth. And you don't have to consider that as wasted efforts, or as a wasted time, because with these two cards that we do have here, okay, the Emperor and the Eight of Pentacles, that means that the details that you have to reshuffle, that you have to fix, that you have to change, because it could be also change, they are tiny, right? They are like subtleties, but the concept itself, it's right. Right? So let me give you an example. Let's assume that that is about how you do make money, and you had built a foundation up until now to initiate or to start a website, okay? But one final examination, you do realize that the font is not exactly the font that it is appealing to you, or the background color, or certain pictures on it, or certain kind of like stock files or whatever. And now you have to go and kind of like revisit all the website and change the shrift here and there, change some kind of like photos and so on and so forth. But the concept of the website, it's spot on. It is just the presentation itself. It needs to have one final touch of finesse here and there in order to get you where you want to be. So that kind of fixing and restructuring, it is what I am talking about. Now, other than that, this transit for you, Yasmin, should be quite successful, because at the end of the day, after those 25 days, you will have your environment so under control that whatever is thrown at you, whether it's your business, job, relationship, whatever the case, you will be able to face it no matter what, and you will actually build your foundation in such a way that you will diminish the downs and amplify the ups to as much as possible. All right, so next that will be Jasmine Miller. Queen of Cups for you, Jasmine. Followed by the Six of Swords. And the last one, we have the Ten of Cups. Here. Jasmine, I'm sorry, but your reading is going to be very short. Okay? Because it's pretty much one thing here, and that is about your life. Now, these 25 days are going to be the days where the worth of your life increases dramatically. Okay? That is where it's just, I don't know how to put it into words. They stand for the happening there, the enterprise, for example, the job offer, for example, the client, for example, the person that you may start dating. It's gonna be so worth it. right? It's just at some point you, and I'm not exaggerating here, you will see it as everything you have ever wanted. No, you will see that you don't need anything else anymore, right? That's it. Now, that doesn't mean that this is going to be for a lifetime. I mean, your wish. Of course, with the Ten of Cups, it has that side of the human nature that at some point you want more. But for now, that will be the fulfillment. That will be where, that happens to you, because that is how the Ten of Cups as an influence is. Either through a slow progression, or straight away, all of a sudden, your life now, it has the most worth you can put on it. Because the happening in it, whether a dating, whether a marriage, whether a new job, is just, you don't know what else you want from life, and you're gonna feel extremely blessed. The Six of Swords next to the Queen of Cups, it says that this isn't gonna be something that requires from you a heavy lifting, or a risk, or whatever the case. Is just something that pretty much is gonna be displayed on you on a platter. How long you are gonna feel that way, it could be a few minutes, it could be a few months. That depends on the happening itself. And last but not least, we do have Taco. Taco, where are you moving? In Brazil? Four of Wands. Two of Wands. And the Hierophant. You're moving to Brazil. All right. Warm place, eh? Well, what if there is a scorch earth policy then? How you're gonna live off the land? What, you're gonna be a farmer? Anyway, next 25 days for you, Taco. Major accomplishment. It is what those cards are showing here, but that's not gonna be the end, okay? These two, the Four of Wands and the Two of Wands, they're like the perfect storm, all right? They're like when you have everything kind of like attended to, that you are planning to accomplish within the next 25 days, but it turns out that that's not kind of the end. It turns out that this is just the beginning of the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Let me give you an example, Taco. Let's say that you want to make a one-time off deal with a person, and that deal you consider that is going to bring you a good enough money. And that deal happens, and it turns out that is something you can keep on doing, okay? And you can also expand the scale, all right? Or transform it into, or translate it, so to speak, into a different field, okay? So that could play out in many different ways, but what those cards are showing is that within the next 25 days, your hard effort, your hard work, should and will pay off, all right? But once it does, okay, so once it does, you gotta look into with an open mind into it, because otherwise that will only going to ensnare you of being able to reach the maximum potential of it, so to speak. and most likely we're talking here about money or a business, because I do know that you are married, and if that's about relationships, these cards only apply if you plan to have a big transition into your relationship, like for example marriage, or they do apply if you are chasing someone to be with, right? And they do speak that the chase is going to be successful or the marriage is going to happen. However, you got to be ready to certain compromise. But in term of money, in term of work, in term of job, if that's about you living off the land, I mean, you're going to do a great job about it. Even you will be able to sell something from what the land gives you, because the land will give you more than you actually need in order to live off from. If you are to translate that to your statement here. But bottom line, Taco, it is that you are on, the finalization of important cycles of development for you, mate, are nigh for you. And once accomplished, you will see that that's just, a kind of like one stepping stone, kind of like a checkpoint, and you can grow to a bigger extent afterwards. In fact, also those cards are confirming that by now you are doing a really, really good job. You do have an achievement that some people may envy you for, but you should not stop here, because you can go for so much more. Let me check on the cards again. And one last thing. Have you watched The Black Knight? With that's the Batman, right? With where who was in the leading role? The Joker was played by Heath Ledger. I forgot the actor that played Batman, but what the Joker said, it is when they asked him. So he went to the mobsters, right? And he offered, well, I can kill Batman for you. And they said, well, if you can kill the Batman, why haven't you done it by now? And it could be. And the Joker said, well, it's because if you can do something that no one else can, you make sure you never do it for free. And that needs to be your mentality here. Now, if it is about your inheritance, I'm going to say that. All right. So if these cards relate to your inheritance, then unfortunately, maybe for you, you will have to kind of like make a certain compromise with your father, right? How can I put it into words? Go along with the thing you do not believe into. Go along with the thing you do not trust. Okay, so that will what the compromise will require. Bear in mind that these are minor arcana, and should it comes to a choice, you can pretty much go off the road of those cards. The choice should always going to be, if you do want to keep up with those cards, the choice always should be building on top of what I had accomplished thus far. Right? And if your father, up until this point, you and your father have some kind of an agreement, and into the next 25 days your father upgrades that agreement with additional stipulations though, and you do find those stipulations to be in a bit off the chart, you have to agree to them, because this is the build, and this is a build on top of your agreement, which is your accomplishment. All right? So that doesn't mean that everything is going to be smooth. That Hierophant being next to the Four of Wands, it says that these, how can I put it into words, these developments that are going to happen, they will not going to be exactly the way you trust them to be, but that doesn't mean that they are going to be inefficient. Okay. So that is a little bit of a clearance here, or clarity rather here. With that said, this is going to conclude tonight's live stream. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Oh, one last thing. Now the live stream was in 9 p.m. That is because of the time difference. You, my American friends, you kind of like turned the clocks one hour forward. We in Europe, we are a bit behind time, so we're going to turn it in a matter of a couple of weeks. So into the next couple of weeks, probably the live streams are going to be at 9 p.m. But after the end of March, we will pretty much going to be back on schedule. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you do enjoyed it. Thank you so much for attending. And as well, thank you so much for your generosity tonight. And we're going to see each other next time, which is going to be Friday. And with that said, bye.